right? So you can have one user decide on secret key and let the other user handle. And this is how we do this. To kind of let one user decide the secret key and encrypt that with the private key of the sender, so this is like a digital signature. And then further encrypt it with the public key of the receiver. So when the receiver gets it, what's the order it will have to decrypt it?
To see which private key first.
Right, so the receiver has to apply its private key and decrypt it, and then further decrypt that with the. So this is the order in which you encrypt, where when you want to decrypt, you first decrypt using the private key of the receiver and then the public key of the sender. Okay? Now, if you notice the question bank, there would be a question at least asking you to compare encrypting like this versus encrypting like this. Which one would you prefer?
Does it matter?
Yeah, so as part of the question, does it really matter or which one you would prefer?
You got to pass the key first, right?
Yeah, you want to send the key to from the sender to the receiver. So one way to do that is encrypt first the private key of the sender and first further encrypt this. Right?
But with that one, you got to do the public key first.
Yeah, you encrypt the public key of the receiver. The sender should know the public key of the receiver, and further encrypt that with the private key of the sender. Right? So does it really matter, or is there some reason why one is preferred over the other?
I mean, the second one, the key goes second, right?
Easy to record. Which one? Second one can be easily decrypted?
No, the first one is easy.
Why first one is easy to decrypt?
Because when we put the key is supposed to be a private key.
This one, this is a secret key. This is like a message or a secret key that you want to send from the sender to receiver. So this is supposed to be confidential.
Right. I'm trying to see which one is
Is the K confidential for that one too? Is the K for the second confidential?
Right, this is also confidential. Same message is supposed to send it either one of the two ways.
I think both of them.
Both of them are the same. They achieve the purpose, but
Yeah, the same thing to figure out the other one. But the public key, I think, can be public. I mean, can be seen by
Right.
all people.
right.
Yeah, that's the difference.
I think with the second one right there, the public key, that's where everybody know, and it can be encrypted. Then you go to the private key. But I think if like someone tried to use the first one and they don't know the private key at all, they can't go to the next step. That's why.
So
That's
which
the
one would you
difference.
prefer?
The first one.
First one is better.
Oh, for real? Okay.
That's
Write
all?
that down.
No, I'm asking you. Is there anything the first one is better?
I think the first one better though, because you gotta decrypt the private. Everybody don't know the private, but with the second one, if you decrypt the public, everybody know the public. Then you go to the next step to get the private.
Are you going to follow what she's saying? Let me tell.
I
Explain. So with the first one, right? So you are sending this, right? So you are encrypting the secret key or the confidential message information first with the private key of the sender, right? Only the sender knows the private key, so that's like a sequential. Okay? And you further encrypt with the public key of the receiver, right? And you send it. So when again when the receiver takes the use, it has to decrypt first with the private key of the receiver, right? So only the receiver is supposed to know that. So anyone else who captures this message, encrypted thing, can they attempt the first decryption anyone else who captures the message, can they do the first decryption successfully, except the receiver, right? Only the receiver can decrypt this or her private key. Nobody else will know the receiver's private key. So they cannot even get inside this and get access to the inner encrypted part. Whereas with this, what's the problem? Anyone who can capture this message can decrypt this with what? The public key of the sender, which is not everyone. Right? So then they can get access to the inner one, right? Now, the inner one, of course, they cannot get to the confidential thing right away because it's encrypted to the public key of the receiver, so they have to know the private key of the receiver to decrypt. But they can at least go decrypt one level successfully, and the inner one they can subject to some cryptanalysis or a brute force attack to, it makes life more easy for them compared to this. Right? They can even guess what is the private key. They can try and keep on guessing different keys. Or there's a brute force upwards, or they can do some possible cryptanalysis. So that is one drawback. They at least can decrypt one layer successfully and get access to the inner encrypted part. And it can be likely to be subjected to cryptanalysis. The other one, like we are going to see in this class, someone can even forge a message in the sense that this doesn't really act as a digital signature. Why? Because you are encrypting the message with the public key of the receiver, right? So imagine, so someone sends like this, okay, and say from sender to the receiver, and a malicious guy gets the message, he kind of almost dumps it, and he can forge his own message, right? And how? Because he knows the public key of the receiver, right? And all he has to do is encrypt with the private key of the sender. But if of course the malicious guy will not know the private key of the sender, right? But to decrypt this, what the receiver should know? The public key of the sender, right? So if he can do what is called a spoofing, as we will see, if he can make the receiver to believe that the message came from the sender, right? And make the sender to use his public key. So make the sender to use the public key of the malicious guy, but the receiver thinks it is using the public key of the other original sender. So it's like spoofing. So what it means is, the receiver thinks the public key that it is using belongs to the sender, but the public key actually belongs to the malicious guy. Right? So the receiver is fooled to believe that the public key it is using corresponds to the public key of the original sender, whereas actually the public key it is using corresponds to the public key of the bad guy, malicious guy. Right? So, which means you cannot just take, if I tell you that this is my public key, go ahead and use it, you cannot use it for, take it for granted. Okay? So, if this is what's called man in the middle attack, it means, for example, again if S and R or sender receiver communicating, the receiver doesn't know the public key of the sender, right? So before on any of this communication, the receiver doesn't know the public key of the sender. So what will happen is the sender will send its public key to the receiver. And like this, the bad guy could dump it and send its own public key. Right? When the receiver gets the public key, it would believe that whatever the public key it's receiving, because it's expecting a public key from the sender, right? So whatever it's getting, it could believe that it's a public key of the sender. We later will see what's called IP spoofing. So with spoofing, you can make a message to appear to come from a particular source. So this receiver could believe that whatever it's getting as a public key corresponds to the original sender. Okay? But the message really, the public key really corresponds to this bad guy. So once you can make the receiver to believe that, you could do this. You could really spawn your own message or whatever the key and encrypt to the public key of the receiver and indeed encrypt to the private key of the malicious guy and send it. And what the receiver does, it decrypts with the public key of the what it thinks is the public key. And gets the inner one, it can decrypt that to the private key. But what you achieve, you end up sending a fake message to the receiver. And that could have any virus code or something. And if the receiver trusts the original sender, it trusts what are the messages it receives, right? So it can execute that code. And you'll be in trouble. Okay? So this is the motivation for what is called public key certificate, which we will cover sooner in this class, next module, which means you cannot just use, so if I tell you this is my public key, you cannot just assume that that's my public key. I have to give you a public key certificate rather than my public key, which means the public key certificate will contain my public key, but it will be certified by a certifying authority. It's like when you send your passport or any document, right, or any paperwork for immigration or anything else, you don't send your original document. They ask you to send a photocopy of it, right? Anything, passport or any, send a document which you don't want to lose by mail, they just ask you to send a photocopy. But normally what they do, they ask you to get it notarized, right? So what's the process of notarization? Has anyone gone through that?
Yes.
So what do you do to get notarized?
You had two people there.
You have a witness.
Right, it's two people. The person is
I'm a notary.
right. It's two people. Me and her in a notary public. She's the person that's saying she's okay. She's okay in this, and I'm saying I'm okay in it. And then the notary public is the person that says yeah. Both of them said the same thing.
Yeah, the notary is like the third eyewitness or the second eyewitness, because I'm a notary. And they take full responsibility if something go on.
Right,
You have to
exactly.
pay for insurance.
But
So, yes.
my question is, when you get that the person that has a certified key, who is this mysterious
Yeah,
person?
so I'm going to talk about that. So I'll introduce that person. So again, coming to the notarization example, the notary public will verify that it is you, right? Sometimes they ask for the original document and they ask you to sign in front of them.
You gotta have
They
a
need a witness also and all those things, right?
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong, that if the other receiver finds out that whatever is submitted to the notarization is a fake document, the notary public will be in trouble. They may lose the notarization ability too. Alright? Yes?
Now, I have a question. Why the sender sent the public key to M instead of R? Is
No,
it
no,
M?
the sender sends it to R, but the M suppresses the message. You're a hacker. You can make them, yeah, yes, you can stop the message and send your own public key. So it's hacking. Okay? So the notary public takes the full responsibility on behalf of you, right? And the third party receiver who gets that certified or notarized document trusts the notary public, right? Just because the document was certified or notarized by them, they accept it as a valid document. Alright? So like that here, we need our public key to be kind of digitally notarized or certified by a certifying authority. Okay? So that's like our notarization person. We call CA. So that person certifies your public key. And it's nothing but, as we'll see soon, the public key of the user. So if I want to get a public key certificate for user A, it's a public key of user A encrypted with the private key of the certifying authority. And to be exact, the public key and the hash value of certain things, the hash value of the ID of user A and maybe even the public key of user A and all these things. So the actual public key and the hash value of all the identifying information of the user The two things encrypted with the private key of the certifying authority. This is what is the public key certificate of user A. Okay. So when I give it to a second user, how can the user extract the public key of user A? It has to know what? To extract the public key.
The
It has to know the
private key.
public key of the certifying authority, right? Because it was encrypted with the private key of the certifying authority, so it has to know the receiver has to know the public key of the certifying authority. And this is a public key, right? And certifying authority is one the receiver also has to trust. So the receiver trusts the certifying authority. It has to know the public key of the certifying authority. And using that, it can extract the private key of the individual user. Not the private, the public key of the individual user. Right here? So you're not using directly the public key of a user. So if user A sends its public key, it could be more likely it's public key, but like this, there could be a match in the middle like that or something like that, and you may end up using somebody else's public key thinking that is the public key of the actual sender. No. So what you need really is a public key certificate of the user, not just his public key. So this could be like when you go for jobs in security area, like you explain them like this, they're very convinced. Why you need a public key certificate rather than just a public key. Okay. Clear? Any question? So that's why, so now we know the answer for this, right? So we have a quiz coming up when? Next Wednesday? Yeah, so the first quiz. So let's keep just on this module which we finished today. Okay, so module 1 on cryptography or public key encryption. February 6th. Okay. So now we know how to explain, right? Yes.
So, the user that's going to decrypt the public key certificate.
Yes, the user is going to decrypt the public key certificate using the public key of the certifying authority, extract the public key of the user, sender.
So just with the public key, the user can do that?
Yeah, just the public key of the certifying authority.
That's like private
So I'm
key.
saying like the user has the algorithm to use to encrypt.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, always the encryption decryption algorithm is public. It's just the keys that have been made secret. It is public key encryption. So if you encrypt the private key of certifying authority, you need to decrypt with what? Public key. And you know the public key of certifying authority. So this is like a signature. So someone is notarizing you. So this is like the CA, certifying authority, is notarizing the public key of the user. Because the private key of certifying authority is known only to that person. So nobody else can notarize or vouch for that public key. You see what it means? Right? Clear? Nobody else can sign this, right? Because the private key of certifying authority is known only to the certifying authority. Isn't it? So nobody else can say or sign for the certifying authority. Okay?
Yeah, I got one more question. So since all you need is public key on the authority, so anybody can decrypt the message?
Yes, anybody can decrypt. That's, yeah, you're right. But can they forge or fake? Which means, can they put like what this guy did? Let's say, you're right, let's discuss that. So if, yes, sends his public key certificate, right? This malicious guy, say called Melody, can do this decryption and get what? Can get the public key of the sender, right?
Yeah.
Can
Oh,
get the
okay.
public key of the sender. But can she or whoever can that person encrypt with his public key with the private key of the certifying authority?
No.
Previously, that person just sent his public key
To
the
the
receiver,
receiver.
and that person just blindly believed it. Now, you cannot do that, because if you want to do that, you want to encrypt that your public key with the private key of the certifying authority, which you don't know. You cannot forge or fake the public key, the certificate. You can get access to it. Anyone who gets the certificate can get your public key. But that is your public key, the valid original public key. Right? So you're not fooling them. But saying anybody who gets access to the channel can get my public key, that's fine. But they cannot replace the contents of the certificate. They cannot remove your public key and put their public key and encrypt it. Right? So they cannot send. Nobody can generate your certificate, that's what it is. Right? So like you go to the notarizing official and you show your document and you have to be there to get notarized, right? So like that, nobody else can forge your public key certificate. Okay?
All right,
That's
Dr.
what-
May, who's this authority?
Huh?
Who is the authority?
Have you heard of this, what is it, VeriSign and all this, you know, when you download certain things, you see that this is, yeah, so there are some entities that act as certifying authorities. So even softwares, when you download the software, it has to be digitally signed by certain, even Amazon, I think there are certain agencies that are certifying authorities.
You know, at work sometimes you'll see that when they're trying to go to different sites, it'll say it doesn't recognize this authority or this
Right.
certificate. Some error like
So
that.
your browsers normally are configured to trust certain certifying authorities. So if you happen to download or visit a site and you end up using a certifying authority which your browser doesn't trust, that's when the message pops up. This is signed by an authority which is not in a trust list or something, and you want to go ahead and download the rest of the contents or not. If you say yes, it will be downloaded. So which means even though their browser doesn't trust that certifying authority, it will go ahead and download it.
Okay.
Okay? So like that, software that you download from the internet can be signed by certain certifying authority, because you want to make sure it doesn't have any virus or anything in it. So once it is signed by a certifying authority, and if you trust that authority, then you can believe that. So it's not going to have any malicious content. So that's why you have to be careful which certifying authority you have to trust, not just trust everyone. Some may be fake. Right? So that's another level of problem. So here we'll assume that whatever your certifying authority is trusted.
Okay.
Okay? And sometimes normally each network will have also its own certifying authority, like a domain key authority we call. And within a network they issue all the certificates. Okay? So later in the next one you see different levels of certificates, CA1, CA2, CA3, class 1, class 2, class 3. So normally each network administrator can be a certifying authority. So all the computers within the network will trust that person. And there will be a hierarchy of certifying authorities. You know, the person you trust may not be trusted by someone else. But there can be a common trusted authority, a certifying authority that each administrator can trust. So for example, you may be one network and you may be certified by this person, and there may be another user who may be certified by this, and these two certifying authorities may be certified by this person. So there's always a possibility of hierarchy of certifying authorities.
So Dr. Matt, if you had that's in a network, right? But what about a personal computer?
What about what?
A personal computer, like you.
Yeah, again, like as I said, there are certain authorities for personal, like software and computers too. So you're still having like an internet service provider, so you're not all alone in the internet, right? So there has to be a service provider for you. So whoever is a certifying authority for that service provider will have this kind of hierarchy relationship.
Okay.
Okay. I don't like this. Really prefer the classroom on the top, the second floor. This system.